This morning we're speaking with Ms. Kathy Hambrick Jackson, Director of the River Road African American Museum, about a celebration they are having June 8th from 2 p.m. until 5 p.m. at the museum's location of 511 William Street in Donaldsonville. Good morning, Ms. Hambrick Jackson. Welcome to Sunday Journal.
Well, good morning.
So tell us, what is the mission of the River Road African American Museum?
Well, the mission of the River Road African American Museum is to educate the public about the history and culture of African Americans in the rural communities between Baton Rouge and New Orleans in an area that's typically known as sugarcane country.
So how did you first come up with the idea to begin this project?
Well, I moved back to Louisiana in 1991 from Los Angeles. I am originally born in New Orleans, but I moved back to Louisiana in 1991, and I just happened to notice that this area between Baton Rouge and New Orleans is typically a major tourist area for the plantations in this region. And as I unfortunately discovered that most of these plantations 20 years ago had no interpretation or no mention or slavery or the history of our ancestors when you went on those tours.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really felt that there needed to be a place to tell our side of the story.
Now, coming up on June 8th, you're going to be celebrating a very special occasion in the history of the museum. You'll be celebrating the Louisiana Rosenwald schools, named after Julius Rosenwald, who worked very closely with Booker T. Washington, in fact. Tell us about Rosenwald's contributions to education.
Well, you know, it's really very interesting. I first found out about Julius Rosenwald and Rosenwald schools by attending a preservation conference that was being sponsored by the National Trust for Historic Preservation, and I believe that first conference was back in 1996 or 97 in South Carolina. And little did I know that Louisiana once had 400 schools that were funded by the Rosenwald Fund, or either the plans from Tuskegee's Institute to build these schools were used by the black community to help educate our children in rural communities. And so since about 1996-97, I have been looking and doing research, trying to find these old school buildings, particularly the wooden schoolhouses. So we came across a building that was in a community called Central, sometimes referred to as Ronesville, Louisiana. And that community is on the east bank of the river in St. James Parish. We were able to convince the St. James Parish School Board to donate the building to our museum. And they said, you can have it if you can move it. Well, I see buildings moving all the time up and down the river road, so I said, yes, we will take it. Not realizing at that time how expensive it is to move a building. So now here we are 10 years later, and I must say, over $250,000 later, we have been trying to restore this building, bring it up to hurricane code, and we have been successful in stabilizing the exterior, repairing the rotten floors on the interior, and this will be the centerpiece for the River Road African American Museum in Donaldsonville, to tell the story of education and how our ancestors in those first years after Reconstruction, how they were able to get an education. So this building is a testimony to how important our grandparents and our ancestors felt that education was to the advancement of our people during that time.
Now, the celebration happens Saturday, June 8th from 2 p.m. until 5 p.m. at the museum's location of 511 Williams Street in Donaldsonville. What will you guys be doing at the celebration? And tell us about the memorial walkway that you have.
Well, we started selling bricks about 2.5 years ago, and visitors to the museum from all over the country and all over the world have been purchasing bricks for $100 in the names of family members or in the names of themselves. And so we have over 300 bricks that have been sold so far. So this is our first circle of supporters where we will unveil and also put 30 bricks and will be installed on that day. But equally as important is that we have a special guest coming, and that is the great-granddaughter of Booker T. Washington.
Okay.
She will be coming to Louisiana for the first time, and she is our guest speaker. She will be bringing some of the children's books that she has authored to sell, and she will speak to us about her great-grandfather, what inspired him to build Tuskegee Institute, and why he was so dedicated to making sure that black children would get a better education or get an education in the rural South.
So where can people go to learn more information about the River Road African American Museum, or if they would also like to make a contribution?
If you're listening, anyone in your listening audience is interested in helping the museum as we approach the 20th year anniversary next year, you can go to our website. It's www.africanamericanmuseum.org, and that's all lowercase, just run it together. We are currently located at 406 Charles Street, right around the corner from where our Rosenwald School building is at 511 William Street. We actually have 5 buildings in the historic district of Donaldsonville that are all a part of our walking tour or our heritage tour. So you can learn more about those buildings and the history of the people that live in these rural communities by going to the website. I also would like to just say to your listening audience, because I know many people are very familiar with L.B. Landry High School, or familiar with L.B. Landry, who was a physician. He was born in Donaldsonville, and we are now looking we found his home where he was born. He was the son of Pierre Callis Landry, who was America's first black mayor. So there are connections to New Orleans.
Ms. Kathy Hambrick Jackson, thank you so much for joining us on Sunday Journal.
Well, thank you, Teresa. Thank you so much for having me.